Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us again for our weekday 5 p.m. Pacific time live Q&A session where we're taking questions and just discussing U.S. immigration and all the crazy complexity that's involved in that process. So we're live as always every day, every weekday on TikTok. Immigration lawyer John is the handle, and on Wednesdays we're live on YouTube. So we have a lot of new subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for joining. I hope you have some questions and hopefully we could talk. It's the first time going live on my phone on YouTube, so it should be interesting with a much better view. And as always, the recording is on YouTube as well. It's posted right here. We try to get that recording to other social media avenues as well. We're going to start in a second as people are trickling in to get to those questions and to talk U.S. immigration. See you in a sec. All right, so hey everyone, thank you for joining again. I'm John Khosravi. As a reminder, this is general immigration information, not case-specific information. You need to discuss it in private with the lawyer about your case to see what's appropriate for you, because there's so many little pieces of information on every case that's required for us to know about to be able to give proper guidance. Sorry, making sure some stuff's going. So it's very important that you talk with a lawyer in private to get this. But general information here. Try to take away the confusion and give guidance, because if you go online, you get all sorts of information everywhere. That's one of the things about immigration. I always tell clients, if you talk to 5 different immigration lawyers, you're going to get 5 different answers. So expect that. Now we start the show a couple minutes early. If people are just trickling in, they expect the 5 p.m. But as you're coming in, shoot out some questions. I'll just make a discussion a little bit, talk a little bit right now about just what's going on in the immigration world. And right now it's a huge mess on every aspect you could think about. Interviews are still not being scheduled in the United States for adjustment of status green card cases. The focus is on citizenship there. And then when you're looking at embassies, some embassies are slowly starting to schedule July interviews for visas, particularly immigrant visas, people who are going to get green cards, but it's just some embassies. Word of mouth I'm getting is, for example, France, London will do emergencies, Spain will do it, but a lot of others won't. So just be careful for this. So we have our first question from YouTube. Hello, attorney. Family-based visa F1 and F2B are also banned. Yes, probably. Unfortunately, they're banned. So F1 is the adult single child of a U.S. citizen, and F2B is an adult child of a green card holder. Both of those are subject to the immigrant visa travel ban. Now, you might have some exceptions that apply to you. I don't know about that. You could overcome it. But in general, those categories are included in President Trump's immigrant visa travel ban. So even if they do their interview, they can't issue the visa until that travel ban is lifted. And for now, it looks like it's going to be there until the end of the year, meaning the end of December 2020. It may get cut short if they want to. It may go later. We'll have to see what's going on. But as it is right now, those categories are shut off, primarily as people who are married or there's minor children of U.S. citizens who are exempt, plus some other categories. There might be some exemptions, but the bad news is it does apply to you. But thank you for your question, though. That's unfortunate that that's the case. So it's the first time I'm using YouTube's live video, so I'm trying to figure out the buttons on here. But the video is here. Also have a podcast on these recordings. Will be on the JQK Immigration Law Firm podcast. We're getting back episodes and uploading that shortly, so you'll see more and more of those popping up. Alexander 2035 or something like that asks, EAD new card is being processed. Next step after this case update. Well, if the new card is being processed, that means they've approved your EAD. I have to see. I can't remember that, but it probably means it's approved and it's coming. But I have to see exactly what is written. They always change the way they write it. That's not the most important thing. But if it's being processed, it probably means it's being printed. But I'm not sure exactly. I have to double check to see that language. So don't quote me on that. Let's put it that way. So Jean Men asks, are any new DACA applications being accepted? And it's a major question. I'm getting a lot of phone calls about this. Deferred action for childhood arrivals, also known as DACA, D-A-C-A, was held to not be valid, but the U.S. Supreme Court said that the President's administration didn't properly end it, so they have to redo the process. In the meantime, that means that resets everything. So you technically should be able to file stuff, but USCIS, the immigration office that handles those, has to reopen it and give advice on how to do with the form and all that kind of stuff. So we're not really clear and sure how this is going to happen, how it's going to work. If you want to be risky, you want to take the chance, you could just submit a new one and see what happens. I would include a work permit and then maybe take an application for advanced parole in there too. But there's risks involved. You might lose your money. That's the biggest risk I can imagine. Depends on your case and your facts. So I can't tell anyone to do anything without reviewing their case. But there's no direct guidance on what to do if you could file new DACA applications. But in some cases, you might just want to roll the dice and see if it works, and hopefully it does, and just give you back the money or don't charge your card or whatever. So that's the situation right now. It's straight up in the air. So we'll see, and we'll see. Okay, we have another question. Ben Jojo asks, what advice do you have for someone who has a lengthy criminal record, DUI, etc., to start green card? It's not possible to give you advice here. The advice is to talk with a lawyer, get all your criminal records, arrest records, original or certified copies, get the court certified records of your conviction, take all that information and consult with 2 or 3 immigration lawyers that specialize in crimmigration, criminal immigration matters. Have them review the history to see what's good, what's not, and what waivers may be possible, and to take it from there. That's the only guidance that is possible to give you like this. You just have to sit and talk with somebody, but you need to have the documentation. So if you have criminal history, and you have any arrest, even if it's minor, this is for everybody, you have to have the conviction record. USCIS expects that, and sometimes even the arrest record. And take it, you have to read those to see what the contents are, what the final solution, resolution of the court was, all that kind of stuff, because the USCIS is going to ask for it. They want to see the information and the documents, and your lawyer has to know it too to be better prepared. So that's the advice, the only advice there is. So I recommend doing that as soon as possible. Okay, we got a question on YouTube. Let's see. It says, Rupan asks, I have no health insurance right now. I'm a green card holder and my spouse waiting for interview abroad. So as I don't have health insurance, let's see. The YouTube chat, it's kind of sucks, so I may have to fix the settings. So as I don't have health insurance right now, does it affect her visa abroad? Thanks. Not necessarily. So, you know, what it is President Trump changed it, so as a U.S. person, you don't have to have health insurance for federal purposes. But if you live in a state like California, you are supposed to have health insurance as of this year. And so that becomes an issue of your taxes in California to see whether that's valid or not. So we got to see what's going on there. But for immigration purposes, they're looking at your federal taxes anyway, so we won't even notice that. But the main thing is, no, your health insurance doesn't matter, but your spouse may need health insurance. That situation is in the courts right now. We'll see what happens with it. But the main thing is what they're looking at with regards to you is, one is, do you have any like sex crimes or something? It's a weird thing, but there's an Adam Walsh Act. You probably don't, most people don't, and also they wouldn't have taken your case to the embassy at this point. But the main thing they're looking at you is your financial circumstances. Are you working? Are you making an income? Or do you have a lot of money saved up? That kind of stuff. That's what their focus is going to be on. Then the rest of it is on the foreign spouse and what they're going through and what their financial, education, language, history, health history, all that kind of stuff is. So most, other than showing you have income, most of the focus on finances and insurance is going to be on your foreign spouse. Thank you for the question. Walidin asks, are marriage-based green cards, I-130, I-485 adjustment applications also affected by the new law? No, the new travel ban that, almost every travel ban that it comes out, essentially, always applies to people getting a U.S. visa from an embassy overseas. So it's really easy for the president, because they have power over international affairs, to just not let people inside the United States. So when most of the time, almost every time, I say 99% of the time, give myself a 1% out. When these bans are passed, it's against people obtaining visas to enter the United States, and that's where the block of it is. And so if you're doing a case in the United States, there's no overt, we don't know of any programs, who knows what they're doing behind the scenes, but there's no programs like that that are preventing you from getting a green card in the United States. Jimen asks, if you travel on an advanced parole on DACA, all entries are subject to approval. Yeah, so advanced parole is a permission to leave and re-enter the United States. It's not full permission, but it gives you opportunity to go and come back. And but if you leave on it, advanced parole, it's not guaranteed you come in. It's at the discretion of the CBP officer. So there are risks. So we have to know your background to see if you're hypersensitive, if you have any criminal history, for example, that's an issue. But overall, it's usually not a problem, but it can be. So there's risks involved with that. If you're going to do DACA and do advanced parole, the reason you want to do that is you may have had previous illegal entry, and so you want to cure that by doing advanced parole entry and then filing for adjustment of status, for example, if you're married. So that's the point of that. I mean, the real point is you request advance parole because you have some urgent humanitarian need to travel. And if you have that, so it's not a strategy in the sense of just abusing the advance parole system, but if you do have something like that and you apply for advance parole, you also get that benefit as well. So we had a question about the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan. You know, that's not a question to ask me. You keep checking the website for the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan and see what they say about reopening. That's where you get it. I'm not in charge of that embassy, so I don't have information on their opening and closing. It really depends on the situation on the ground. You're welcome, Rupan. Thanks for asking your question. Okay, Juma follows up. What happens if you're not allowed to enter again? Are you sent to a detention center? No, if you're not allowed to enter the United States, they just put you on a plane and send you back. Or if you're at the land border, for example, from Mexico, they just won't let you in the United States. You get banned or expedited removal, or you're just not allowed back in. So it's going to be a major problem because you're stuck outside, and at that point you've probably accumulated what's called unlawful presence days enough where you're going to have like a 3 or 10 year ban from re-entering the United States. It's pretty harsh consequences for it, but consult with an attorney to do a full review of all the things that could be problematic with that. Well, it says, is a marriage, we already answered that question. Madigan asks, I got my work permit through marriage a month ago, but I still have not got my social security card. So I did a video on this. Please go to YouTube, JK Law Firm, where I answer the question about what's going on with the social security cards. The long and short of it is the Social Security office is understaffed, so they're not really sending out cards. You have to call them and organize with them to do it. It's going to be complicated and difficult to get the Social Security card, but call them and try to visit them or something like that. That's the best way to go. But watch that video. I go into more detail there about that issue. Okay, Ahmad asks, is USCIS still processing H-1B petitions? Yeah, they are. They're processing it. Now, if you're going to be doing consular processing, there may be no point in processing it or applying because probably a travel ban is going to continue until October. But if you're in the United States doing change of status or extension of status, that might be a reason to do it. But consult with your employer's attorney who filed that case to see what decision is best in that particular circumstance that you're in. Rupan follows up. I have one friend waiting for an asylum decision from a judge. Can you tell me, please, when this immigration court is going to be open? Again, someone asked about embassy, and as long all these questions about timelines. Do you know when we're going to stop wearing masks? Do you know when COVID-19 is going to end? Do you know when it's safe to go and shake hands and hug people? I don't either. So when you ask when something like that's going to happen in the future, it's an impossible question to answer. Just practically. Okay, Saransman asks, I heard USCIS waived green card interview. Do you heard something like this? Some interviews have been waived, in particular people applying for a green card in the United States through employment. Some of them are being waived. I've heard colleagues and other people say they've waived the marriage green card case interviews. I have not seen them myself. That's a difficult thing because those interviews are really important, so I'd be surprised if that did happen. But they say it did, so I could take their word for it. But that's that. I wouldn't rely on it happening in your case. Just expect that you will have an interview and be prepared for that. And if it doesn't happen, then that's good. It didn't happen. Okay, I gotta get a hang of this YouTube video stuff. All right, so Alexander says, it said, we order your new card for the receipt number and we'll mail it to you and when to file for SSN. So when you filed for your work permit or green card, you should have requested to get a Social Security number with it. If you didn't make the request, well then you got to contact Social Security office. In general, just contact them and see what's going on with your case. That's the best way to go about it. Ryan, if you have a question, just go ahead and ask. Masa, it's good to see you. Let's see. You're welcome, Jimen. HR649 asks, is there any solution if USCIS says they find fraud? Is there any solution? Yeah, you have to show it's not fraud. I mean, it's not a this is a serious kind of question to ask here. You need to consult an immigration attorney like immediately. Hang up the TikTok phone right now and go down a list of directories and start calling immigration lawyers. If they accuse you of fraud, that's the most serious thing that can happen. Next to deportation or removal, you need to do a deep analysis to see what their accusations of fraud are and how you could challenge that accusation to avoid a fraud finding, because it's very difficult to overcome and has very, very severe consequences. Ryan asks, after how can I apply for citizenship? I'm married with a Megan. Okay, he's probably asking how long after You're asking how long after getting a green card can you file for citizenship if you're married to a U.S. citizen? Well, if you've been married and living with a United States citizen and you satisfy the rest of the requirements for U.S. citizenship, like, you know, having enough presence and all that kind of stuff, and don't have any good moral character issues, 2 years and 9 months from the date that you got your green card, you could file for U.S. citizenship, essentially at the 3-year mark, a little bit earlier. But again, it depends a lot on your background and what's going on. So consult with an attorney to review your background and make sure you're doing things right. But in general, if you've been married and living in the United States and you satisfy all the other citizenship requirements, 2-year and 9 month mark is a technical time when you can submit. 90 days before the 3-year mark, should be more specific. 90 days before the 3-year mark is when you can start the process. Parika, sir, visitor visa update, please. You know, there's no update. It's just the embassies are mostly shut down unless you have an emergency. Getting a visitor visa is going to be difficult because they're shut down, but if there's an emergency, you can apply for one. Depending on what country you're from, if you're affected by any particular travel ban, that could be a problem. That's that. When you just ask for general updates, it's very difficult to answer that question. So that's the best I can do. On YouTube, please, in New York, Rupan, I'm not sure, but good to see you in New York. Zeelan, hello from Minnesota. Hello, hopefully things are going good in well, Minneapolis is the windy city. No, Chicago's the windy city, but Twin Cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I think that's what they call it. But thank you for joining us on YouTube. Abinisk asks, can someone on OPT travel in and out of the United States even if the F1 visa is expired? No, if you have a student visa, that's an F1 visa, and you're on the optional practical training portion and you graduated, you're doing work, for example, you still have to have a valid visa to be able to re-enter the United States. So if you leave, you'll have to do a visa interview and come back in, but that could be problematic if you're going to visit, for example, a country that has issues with coronavirus or is a ban or something like that. But you will need a visa always to re-enter the United States unless you have something called advanced parole or you are a green card holder. So those are the only other alternatives which probably won't apply to your case. Okay, so let's go to another question. Alexander follows up. After getting EAD, do you have to file for a new social security number if you already have one? No, your social security number always stays the same. The only thing is you want to eventually update your social security number once you get a green card. So the social security card doesn't say it's a conditional green card only for certain types of employment. You want to remove any of that conditional language off your social security number, and you do that after you get your green card, letting the social security office know so they can issue a clear card for you. But that's that. This one is just the letters I can't read. I think it says Biak Shapatapa. Can I go to Nepal after 1.5 months later from arrival to USA have a green card? I'm not sure I'm following your question. I think you're asking if you enter in the US with a green card, can you leave and be in Nepal for a month and a half? Probably. I don't know if you can. Again, it is very important to know that I don't know your personal circumstances, what you've done in the past, what kind of issues you have. So I can't tell you what you can do. But if someone has a green card, they could travel as a vacation. That's fine. You don't want to be outside for more than 180 days or 6 months. But you can travel, and that's simple as that. But whether you'll have a problem, that I can't tell you because I don't know your background and I don't know you personally. Pardew says, sir, visitor visa India update, please. I don't have any updates I could give you with. You got to have more specific questions. Mo asks, is an F1 student visa will be rejected to enter the USA due to the executive order? No, the F1 student visa is not included in any of the, not any, but in the recent orders, executive orders by the president. So if you have an F1 visa, then that's fine. But there are exceptions, like if you've been visiting China, Iran, Brazil, parts of Europe, that can be problematic. There is an old travel ban with people with Muslim majority countries. That's a problem right there. So it really depends on your case. But generally speaking, F1 student visa holders are not, the June 24th travel ban does not apply to them. All right, Mayra asks, what would cause immigration to deny my citizenship? Mary, that's a very general kind of question. It could be 1,000 different things. I mean, primarily is you filed the paperwork wrong, you didn't be in the you weren't physically present in the United States a long time, you have too many absences, you haven't paid your taxes, you have criminal history. If you're a male, you didn't sign up for the selective service draft, you have criminal history, you have bad military history, Communist Party membership, for example, you didn't tell about, there's previous misrepresentation or fraud, there's inconsistencies in your paperwork, and these could break down into smaller things. There's a lot of things. So what would cause it is just like, what would cause a human being to die? And it's like, well, a person get hit by a car, you get a heart attack, but you know, as I know, there's a million reasons people die. So that's kind of too general, broad of a question to ask, but hopefully I just gave you a couple of examples that are typical. Let's see. Okay, Silu asks, hello, can a conditional green card holder remove a notation on the social security card not valid for work without the authorization? Thank you. Yeah, if you have a conditional green card, that's like a full green card for work purposes. You can tell the Social Security office to issue a new Social Security number based on having a green card, and so you don't have those conditions on it. That's the thing to do because those conditions make it look like it could create problems for you. So you really want to get on top of that and try to fix it. Zaijon says, am I affected by the new proclamation? I don't have my green card and Social Security yet. We arrived here in the U.S. I mean, if you're in the U.S., what difference does it make? No, if you've been in the United States today, it won't affect, this travel ban won't affect you, but I don't know what's going on in your case to be properly able to answer that. John Naranjo asks, hi attorney, what qualifies as evidence to qualify for 245I? Does notice of action pre-2001 of a petition approval from my grandfather will be okay? You know, John, 245I conditions is a complicated thing. I need to see the documents, see your relationship with the person, your parent that was on that petition, what age you were. There's a lot of different things. That's enough of an issue where you really need to consult an attorney in private for such case-specific kind of guidance, because it's not just that. It depends. There's a lot of things that go into this that we need to review to make sure it's proper. Please consult an immigration attorney in private. If you want to consult my office, please send me an email and we can schedule that. There are fees associated with the consultation in my office, but yeah, just hit me up or head up any other attorney. Zedjon, we arrived on US Main. Yeah, that question, I need to talk with you to see what's going on with the case. I wouldn't be able to answer that here. All right, so back on TikTok, Mariam asks, I got from mail immigration office, it says wait. Okay, wait. I don't know what to tell you. Zahan says, I'm on a J1 extension teacher job in USA. My hubby is traveling J2 today and reached 25th of June. If your husband already had the J2 visa, the new travel ban does not apply to them. There's an old travel ban if they visit some sort of European country or something, so you gotta be careful of, but that doesn't apply to them. Marion falls out, wait for next level to give appointment for fingerprint. You just got, if they tell you to wait, you gotta wait. Kel Handy asks, I applied for N400, that's citizenship, and still waiting for biometrics, and I want to apply for I-130 for my wife. Should we wait? Well, the biometrics appointments are all shut down still because of COVID-19. We're waiting on that. Whether you should apply for your spouse or not, that's a personal decision. I need to know more information, whether you want to wait longer or not. You could do both, but it's up to you. But just consult with her in private to make that strategy decision. I can't give you case-specific advice. John says he has DS 2019 with him, but he needs stamping to come back. I don't know. I got to see what's going on with your case about that J2 waiver or J2 situation to be able to answer. You're welcome, Alexander. Marifa asks, do you know if USCIS is working on giving appointments for fingerprints sent in my 601A inside the United States? Well, if you send your 601A, 601A doesn't need fingerprints, so I'm not sure why you would worry about that, but right now, there's no fingerprinting appointments happening. All of the biometrics appointments are shut down. Maybe if there's like an emergency reason, they'll do something, but for now, it's shut down. Darik asks, how are you? I'm doing good. Pavon asks, if I-751, that's removal condition extension, expires and office closed for I-551 stamping, is it illegal to work? No, you are a green card holder. You can work. The employer might not understand that. There is ways of some offices requesting an emergency stamping where they may just do that. So what you should do is contact USCIS.gov, call them up, let them know about the situation, and see what they could do to get some proof of employment so you don't have this kind of issue, but you are a green card holder while the case is pending. You just don't have the paperwork to prove it to somebody, but it's not illegal to work. Super Veggio asks, should I believe the processing times for the EAD for my I-485? No, the processing times on USCIS are very unreliable. That's why people ask me about timelines. I don't even answer that because timelines are completely unreliable, so I don't know. Darius, India backlog almost 7 months. I'm waiting since April. Unfortunately, there are delays. Shahid Ali asks, on January 13, 2020, then my spouse 221G, that's administrative processing for embassy, and wanted some more evidence. I submitted it same day, waiting. I mean, I don't know your case, Shahid, as to what to do. You probably have to wait, but I don't know. I can't advise you in case-specific advice like that. Rupan asks, hi, the New York State giving credit $400 and I'm paying $100 every single month for Metro plus health insurance. It's calling advance premium. I don't know. I'm an immigration lawyer. This is immigration Q&A, not New York State credit health. I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't help you with that, Rupon. All right, let's go back to Toolbox. Let's call it TikTok. Thank you about the comments. I'm looking, got my receipt. That's good. Mo asks, can I apply for a new F1 visa, student visa, for my nephew, or is it suspended due to a new Trump executive order? Well, you wouldn't be applying for anything. Your nephew would be applying for their student visa F1. The new executive order doesn't apply to F1 student visas. But other than that, you consult with immigration, have your nephew talk with them to see what's going on. Yeah, that's the answer to that. I think I answered it pretty well. User 493 asks, hi, I'm from India, living in the US on H-1B, planning to marry a Tunisian girl and bring her here on H-4. Unfortunately, at H-4, unless your fiance has an existing visa right now or is in the United States right now, or you can show some sort of exception to the new travel ban, the H-4 won't be granted to her. I don't think they will grant it. I gotta double check, but I think H-4 is included in the travel ban, just H-1B, so H-4 is that too. User finances, what are my chances? I don't know. I'm not here to give odds on stuff. I'm not a gambler. You just do the work and you take it from there, especially because I don't know anything about you. To ask what my chances are is like not a good question. BM8029 asks, USCIS is letting go of staff, further delays expected. Well, it's not clear if they're going to let go of staff or not, or if it's a strategic tactic, but always expect more delays from USCIS. That's something that you could rely upon. I'll take those chances of that happening. User 49 says, am I daydreaming? Am I daydreaming? Yeah, maybe. Amitra says, marriage-based green card is also on hold. That's too general of a question. If you're doing adjustment of status, their interviews are on hold. Consular processing, it depends on if you're married to a U.S. citizen or not at the embassy. So your question is just way too broad. There's way too many different types of marriage-based green cards and issues involved in countries and stuff like that. And this is why you have lawyers, but that's too general a question. You have to be much more specific. And to be honest, you probably don't know the specific things I need to know, so it's very hard for you to even ask the question. And that's why you got to sit and talk with a lawyer in private about a question like that. Let's see. You're welcome, Tariq. CR1 affected? Maybe. I work in Parvon asks, I work in healthcare and treating COVID-19 patients. Will that give any priority for my I-751 processing? Your I-751 processing, you can always give it a shot. I don't know. I-751 is, you're already here, you have a green card essentially, so what difference does it make? But you can always call USCIS and tell them and see what they do. Make a request, give it a shot. Alexander follows up, is it advisable to go out of the country on advance parole with the situation we're currently in? It's up to you. Why? It's up to you. I need to know more information to see why you would need to go, what the urgency is. But at the end of the day, it's a personal decision to make. And Alexander, I don't know anything about you to be able to give you that kind of advice. So I can't say something's advisable or not advisable. You need to consult with an attorney in private. Rayan asks, if we are separate in 3 years, so how long I wait for citizenship? If you've not been living together, that's problematic. Sometimes they don't pay attention, but technically you're supposed to be living with your spouse to get the 3-year citizenship. If not, you have to wait the full 5 years or 4 years and less than 90 days before 5 years to file. You're welcome, Jahan. Raul asks, is the fiance visa being shut down? It's not clear yet. You can still file and start the case, but whether the embassies will accept the case or not, it's a mixed bag. Some say yes, no. There's probably going to be lawsuits on this, or we have to really work. But you can start the process. Eventually, when your fiance goes to the interview, I think it's going to be embassy specific if they're going to see them or not, because of the way they've done these travel bans. They weren't specific, and they didn't explain if the fiance visa is an immigrant visa or a non-immigrant visa. The Department of State has separately said it's a non-immigrant visa, but everyone's treating it differently. The meanings I'm saying, there's a legal terminology I'm using, is kind of confusing, but the short of it is you should start your case if you are in love and want to get engaged. What's going to happen later, we don't know, so we have to see. Okay, Tariq, I'm a U.S. citizen, petition for my wife, she's under 21. Okay, please tell me, sir. I don't know what to tell you. Just, you file it and you see what happens. Consult with an attorney. Super Veg asks, if I'm married to a U.S. citizen, is my application halted? No. It's just getting interviews hard because they've shut down interviews because of COVID-19. My current status is case ready to be scheduled for interview since May 4th. Again, yeah, so you have to wait for them to start scheduling interviews. So that's that. Derek asks, I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm petitioning for my wife. She's under 21, India. Thanks, sir. Well, the petition and hopefully the interviews open up. I don't know what your question is. Okay, let's see. We got a couple minutes left. I'll take a couple more questions. What software do you use to run your firm? you know, I don't live inside a computer. It's not there's not one software. I use different types of software. So that's it. I don't know what your question is. Toolbox. Yeah, I have a program called the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, and that's why I reference that. I do podcasting and videos for that, and sometimes my brain jumps to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. Let's see. Ram 1975 says, will the fiance visa be effective? Well, I just discussed that. Musker says, hello, I filed my I-751. It's been 2 months. I didn't receive notice. You know, the I-751, sometimes it takes a little while to get the notice. What's important is see that they cash a check on your case. That's the indicator that they started work. So if they haven't cashed a check, you may have to refile it before, so you don't hit the 90-day mark, the 90-day window ending. But consult with the lawyer if you see that's happening. Just to double check, just to see what to do and be careful. Thanks when you come against her. Okay. Arita asks, do you suggest pre-and processing for I-140? I'm an EB3 process. I don't know. I can't suggest. I don't know anything about you to be able to give such a suggestion. So consult with an attorney in private. Your employer's attorney can help you with that. But again, I don't know. I don't know your situation to be able to advise on that. Okay, we'll take 2 more questions here. User 086 says, I applied for an I-129. That's a work visa for my wife from India. You don't really file for I-129 for your wife. You probably need I-129F, a fiance visa. Is Indian embassy okay? In general, the Indian embassies are not open for interviews. Just check the embassy's website. You know, they'll tell you this kind of stuff. Okay, one more question on TikTok and then one more on YouTube. You're welcome, Ryan. Catch user says, hi sir, my mom's dad's case is with the National Visa Center. My mom, dad's case, your parents' cases, I'm guessing. New executive order affect them? Thank you. Yes, it will affect them. Immigrant visa holders are affected by this parents of U.S. citizens unless we have some sort of exception out there. And last question on YouTube, let's see. Aguilar says, hi sir, how are you doing? When do you think embassies overseas open up? Maybe 15 years from now. I don't know. Sorry, a lot of people ask that question. The reality is you're asking me to guess the future. I'm not Nostradamus or Nostradamus or whatever the guy's name was. I can't just close my eyes and say what's going to happen in the future. That's something that some other people may do, not me. But thank you for asking a question. I know it's not an innocent, honest question, but you know, I can't guess this kind of stuff. We just have to wait. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back again here tomorrow. Today was what, June 24th. We'll be back June 25th. It's a Thursday. We're gonna take your questions, take everything live, you know, and see where we're going. Hopefully have some good news about processing times. Please stay in touch. Tomorrow live is gonna be, you know, every weekday. It's on TikTok on Immigration Lawyer John. Not going to be YouTube tomorrow though. Tomorrow, Thursdays are on Instagram. So join me on Instagram, JQK Law Firm. That's the Instagram page. And, you know, we could take it from there. Again, TikTok here, Instagram tomorrow. On YouTube, the recordings will be there as well as on other platforms like Facebook and the like. Until next one, everyone, God bless, be safe, and I hope you stay away from the coronavirus. See you soon. Bye-bye.